You need to watch this if you struggle with hope, loyalty, or finding your way through tough times. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to join us on more timeless journeys. In the ancient land of Moab, Naomi lived as a foreigner, having fled the harsh famine in Judah with her husband and 2 sons. The journey to Moab was not one of hope, but of necessity, a desperate search for survival in a world where food was scarce and the future uncertain. Yet even in this new land, tragedy struck Naomi's family. Her beloved husband died, leaving her alone in a foreign place. Her sons, seeking to build new lives, married Moabite women Orpah and Ruth. But sorrow deepened when both sons also passed away, leaving Naomi and her daughters-in-law in a world shadowed by loss. Naomi was left with only Orpah and Ruth, her heart heavy with grief and uncertainty. The 3 women clung to each other, bound by shared pain and the fragile hope of a better tomorrow. One day, news reached Naomi that the famine in Bethlehem had ended. The thought of returning home to the land of her people sparked a glimmer of hope in her weary heart. Naomi gathered Orpah and Ruth and urged them to stay in Moab, to seek new lives among their own families and familiar gods. She believed they deserved a chance at happiness, even if it meant parting ways. Orpah, after much weeping and heartfelt farewells, chose to return to her family, her tears a testament to the bond they had shared. But Ruth, with unwavering resolve, refused to leave Naomi's side. Her loyalty was fierce, her love defying both culture and logic. Ruth's devotion was more than duty. It was a choice born of deep affection and respect. She saw something in Naomi's faith, a strength and hope that drew her in. Naomi tried again to persuade Ruth to stay, but Ruth stood firm, her mind and heart made up. Ruth's decision was not just about leaving her homeland, it was about embracing a new faith, a new people, and a new destiny. She was ready to leave behind everything she had ever known. Her family, her gods, her past, for the sake of love and loyalty. Ruth's journey was now about more than survival. It was about faithfulness, courage, and the hope of a new beginning. She chose to walk with Naomi into the unknown, her commitment echoing through generations as a symbol of steadfast love. Together, they set out for Bethlehem, 2 widows bound not just by loss, but by hope, love, and the promise of a future yet unwritten. Their story was just beginning, a journey that would change not only their lives, but the course of history. On the long and uncertain road, Ruth made a vow that would define not only her own life, but also her legacy for generations to come. The sun was setting, casting golden light on the path ahead as she walked beside Naomi, her mother-in-law, facing an unknown future. With unwavering conviction, Ruth declared, "Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God." These words were more than a promise. They were a declaration of total devotion and selfless love. Ruth was not just pledging companionship. She was embracing a completely new identity, leaving behind her homeland, her customs, and even her faith, to follow Naomi and trust in a God she had only just begun to know. She turned her back on her past, choosing Naomi's God in a future filled with uncertainty, but also hope. Every step away from her old life was a step towards something greater. With tears in her eyes, Ruth continued, "Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates us." Her vow was absolute, binding her fate to Naomi's forever. Naomi saw Ruth's resolve, her courage, and her love, and realized nothing could change her mind. In silent acceptance, she said no more, knowing Ruth's loyalty was unbreakable. The 2 women journeyed on, side by side, united by a bond stronger than blood. One forged in hardship, faith, and sacrificial love. They arrived in Bethlehem, weary and empty-handed, but not alone. Together they carried the hope of a new beginning, trusting that their faith and loyalty would see them through. Ruth's loyalty became Naomi's greatest treasure, a source of comfort and strength in a world that had taken so much from them. Their hope rested in each other, and in the God Ruth had chosen to follow, a hope that would shape their destinies and echo through history. In Bethlehem, Naomi and Ruth faced poverty. Their journey had been long and filled with sorrow, and now, in a foreign land, they had little more than hope to sustain them. Ruth volunteered to glean leftover grain in the fields, relying on the ancient law that protected the poor and foreigners. This law allowed those in need to gather what the harvesters left behind, offering a lifeline to the vulnerable. She worked hard, humble and determined, seeking favour from any kind landowner. Each step she took in the field was an act of courage, as she was a stranger among strangers, yet she pressed on with quiet resolve. By chance, or perhaps by providence, she found herself in the field of Boaz, a wealthy and respected relative of Naomi's late husband. This connection would prove to be more significant than Ruth could have imagined. Ruth's diligence and humility stood out to the workers. She did not complain or demand, but instead worked steadily, earning the respect of those around her. She asked for permission to glean, grateful for any kindness shown to her. Her gratitude was evident in her words and actions, and she never took generosity for granted. Ruth's actions spoke louder than words. Her faith was lived out in daily sacrifice. Every handful of grain she gathered was a testament to her loyalty to Naomi and her trust in God's provision. She laboured from morning to evening, her character shining in every task. The sun beat down, but Ruth's perseverance never wavered, and her commitment did not go unnoticed. Boaz soon took notice of the foreign woman working tirelessly in his field. He was moved by her dedication and the story of her loyalty to Naomi. Ruth's quiet faithfulness was about to change her life. She had come to Bethlehem seeking survival, but her steadfast spirit was planting seeds for a new future. She was not just surviving, she was sowing seeds of hope, both for herself and for Naomi. Her story was becoming one of resilience and quiet strength. The hand of God was guiding her steps, even when she could not see the path ahead. Each moment in the field was part of a greater plan unfolding. Redemption was closer than she knew. Ruth's faith and perseverance were about to open doors she never dreamed possible, changing her destiny forever. Boaz arrived and noticed Ruth among the gleaners. Learning of her loyalty to Naomi, he was moved by her story. Boaz approached Ruth with kindness. "Stay in my field, close to my workers. Drink from our water jars." He offered her protection and provision, treating her as a welcome guest, not a foreigner. Ruth, overwhelmed, asked, "Why show such favour to me, a foreigner?" Boaz replied, "I've heard of your devotion to Naomi. May the Lord reward you for seeking refuge under his wings." He invited her to eat with his workers, further honouring her. Boaz became God's agent of blessing, recognising Ruth's faith. Ruth's hope was being restored by unexpected grace. The seeds of redemption were taking root. Ruth returned home with an abundance of grain, astonishing Naomi. When she revealed Boaz's kindness, Naomi saw hope. A kinsman-redeemer could secure their future. Naomi instructed Ruth to approach Boaz at the threshing floor, a bold act of trust. Ruth obeyed, uncovering Boaz's feet as a humble request for protection and redemption. Boaz awoke, surprised, and Ruth said, "Spread your wings over me, for you are a redeemer." She was asking him to fulfill his role, not just as a husband, but as a restorer of Naomi's family. Ruth's courage and faith were clear. Boaz recognized her request as an act of loyalty and love. He promised to resolve the matter honorably. Ruth's boldness set in motion the final steps of redemption. The future now rested in Boaz's hands. Boaz praised Ruth's virtue and agreed to redeem her, if a closer relative declined. He promised to settle the matter at the city gate, where legal decisions were made. Boaz presented the case to the elders and the nearer kinsmen. The man declined when he learned he must marry Ruth, fearing for his own estate. Boaz then claimed his rights, sealing the agreement before witnesses. He gave Ruth a generous gift of barley, a sign of his promise. Ruth returned to Naomi, who urged her to wait in faith. Boaz's integrity and Ruth's loyalty were honoured by the community. The path to restoration was now open. Boaz had become Ruth's redeemer, fulfilling both law and love. Redemption was complete. Boaz married Ruth, restoring Naomi's family, her legacy, and their future with hope. The Lord blessed their union with a precious son, whom they named Obed, a new beginning. Naomi's sorrow was transformed into joy as she lovingly held her cherished grandson in her arms. The women of Bethlehem rejoiced together, praising Ruth's steadfast love as greater than 7 sons. Obed became the grandfather of King David, forever weaving Ruth into Israel's royal and sacred line. Ruth, once a foreigner, became a mother of kings and a lasting symbol of hope for generations. Her unwavering faith and loyalty changed the course of history for her people. Through Ruth, God's redemptive plan unfolded, reaching all the way to Jesus, the promised Saviour. Her story proves that no life is too small or insignificant for God's greater purpose. Ruth remains a timeless example of love, faith, and redemption for all who seek hope. If you found Ruth's story inspiring, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more uplifting stories from the past. Your support helps us bring more hope-filled tales to life.